Greetings, everybody. It's Marcel Williams again. I trust that you're all well and keeping safe from the COVID-19 threat, and that you're coping with the new normal. It's my pleasure this afternoon yet again to share some thoughts on current affairs and related to the Word of God. Firstly, I want to say thank you for all the people who are following and those who have expressed some encouragement and the value of what we're doing here. And then secondly, I'd also want to encourage us all to be very careful. There's a resurgence of the COVID-19 spread in South Africa, and there's some hotspots in some areas, some provinces. So there's a second wave, a so-called second wave. We don't know how strong it is at this stage, but there is a spike in the spreading of the disease. So I want to urge us all to be careful, to observe the social distancing, the washing of hands, the wearing of masks, and avoiding crowded and busy places. The last time I spoke about deception yet again, and I presented a challenge in terms of what is the truth, and I shared some scriptures there with you, and I hope that those of us that listened reflected on those important aspects that I've covered, and that you also took up the invite to share these talks with colleagues, friends, perhaps family, and so on. Today I want to touch on something more secular, and that is the election process. You know by now that I've been very fascinated with the United States of America's elections. And my fascination is from the fact that I've been for many elections a presiding officer for the IEC here in South Africa. And over the years with elections, I've picked up quite a bit of experience as to that whole process. I was a presiding officer in the national and provincial elections, as well as your local elections, which we generally term the municipal elections. And I must say I've come to admire our system. The IEC, working with the IEC in this process, I discovered that, if I look back, that we, compared to the United States and elsewhere, we have amongst the best election process in the world, because of the different checks and balances that we have to go through in that election to ensure that it is free and fair. You'll be acquainted with the fact that when you go to the polling station, you'll be met with a queue walker who will inspect your ID document. In other words, that you are who you are, and you are a registered voter to vote at that particular station. Once you enter in it, you actually are checked against the voter registration document, and they will cross out your name there after they've checked to ensure that you don't vote again. And then again your ID is checked before you're given a ballot, and the ballot papers are stamped with the IEC stamp, and that becomes very crucial afterwards in the counting process. And then you're given a marker on your thumb to ensure that you don't vote again. And then there's this whole process that takes place of the boxes being sealed in a particular way, a particular seal, to ensure that there's no funny business taking place. And when the station opens, the presiding officer and the deputy presiding officer has to ensure that all ballots are counted before they start the issuing of ballots, etc. So you'll get to a total of what's at the station, and then then you get things like getting everything properly done, checked. At the end of the process, the boxes are sealed, and then the station is changed into a counting station. And the counting station is sealed. It's only with the police as guard outside, and whoever's inside cannot leave or do anything until the counting process is done. And in that counting process, you got your party agents and observers still to observe. And unlike the United States of America, where there's been problems with the observers cannot see the counting process properly and to verify what's been happening, in our system here, the observers can actually see firsthand the ballots, what's happening to the ballots, and the presiding officer, in conjunction with the party agents and observers, will actually confer and check spoiled ballots, whether is it spoiled, how is it really accepted as spoiled, and so forth. So there's a lot of checks and balances taking place in our system, unlike in the United States of America when we look at everything. And then, when the station is a counting station, and everything is, the ballots are counted and so on, it's carefully done. Unused ballots, cast ballots, spoiled ballots, all of those things like special votes and so on, must all tally to the total of ballots that were issued to the station. So there's no chance for ballots being smuggled in and so forth, like we getting allegations now in the United States of America. And then, after the process is done, the party agents, the presiding officer, everybody concerned, must come to an agreement that it's a free and fair election at that station. And, that conferring, I never came across a situation where people had a problem that they can't sign the document that gives all the totals for all the parties, etc., spoiled ballots, total ballots, and so forth. It can be declared a free and fair election in that particular station, and all the stations are dealt with in that particular way. And then, I, as the presiding officer, would, under police guard protection, a convoy to the depot, would go and hand in all materials to the ballot station, the depot station, and there it's again checked before they sign off. Each item is signed off. Now, unlike all of this checks and balances in the United States of America, there is reason to believe that